welcome to another unboxing video. So this one is for the second colour trend from 2020 from Tonic, CRaFTi and Nuvo, and this one is called White Wonderland. So obviously it's a gorgeous Christmassy with blues and silvers and whites kind of colour tones in it. However, I think this would work really nicely for any sort of winter birthday cards, or mixing in some of the blue tones with maybe the pinks and purples and greens from the previous Tropical Paradise colour trend as well. So I think it's a really great addition to your collection of Nuvo, and there's also some really lovely white products in this collection that we haven't seen in the past, which is really nice. It's always nice to have white and like black of things, because you can get that sharp contrast between things, and with whites you can actually add colour to them as well and create lots of different colours, and you don't have to buy every single colour of something. If you're not going to use something that often, like especially with mousses actually, going for a white one is brilliant, because you can use any of your other products that you might have in your stash, like Aquaflows or Nuvo shimmer powders, and you can just add colour to the white one to make it work for whatever project you're working on as well, which is brilliant. So I think I have everything to show you except the embossing powders. I'm not sure if there's been an issue with manufacturing embossing powders because of everything that's been going on, because we didn't get the embossing powders in the previous colour trend. I don't think they've been released at all. So I haven't got the embossing powders to show you, but I'm pretty certain I've got everything else to show, and I've got 7 or 8 samples to show you as well. A couple you will have seen in a video for the White Wonderland Tonic Craft Kit, because you will have seen a couple of the drops, maybe some of the glitters and confettis and some of the mousses in that craft kit as well, because obviously that was like a preview of the colour trend that's coming out. So where shall I start? I always love showing all the gorgeous Nuvo products, and actually if you've seen any of these unboxing a Nuvo colour trend before, you might get I might be giving you like double information of stuff, but I can never remember what I've already told you. So as I go through the products, I'll try and give you little uses or tips and things as well, just so you've got that to kind of refer back to. But if you've heard it before, then, you know, sorry. But yeah, I can't remember what I've already said before. So let's start with the Glacier paste. I have really been enjoying this white Glacier paste. It's called Winter White, the colour, but previously we've had blues, green, red, gold, silver, and then we had pink and yellow in the previous colour trend, and now we've got a gorgeous white, which, as I was just saying, is really great to have a white, because you can actually add your own colour to it to give different effects, but also it's really nice to go on top of maybe any of your Craft Perfect textured cardstock or any of the patterned papers. You can just add a nice little sheen to the top of it without obliterating whatever's underneath. Just the sort of white. I think it's in a kind of a clear suspension, so it's not going to cover up too much of what's underneath. It will just give that gorgeous like shards of mica kind of a look. And then the other colour is Iron Frost, so a really gorgeous deep blue colour. It's really lovely, this one. I've actually used both of them together to create like a snowfall kind of sky look in the background of a DL card. So I will be showing that sample. I think I'm just going to show all the samples at the end of the video. I think it would be easier. But those are the gorgeous Nuvo Glacier pastes. There are a lot of different ways you can use Glacier paste. You can spread it thinly onto your card. I tend to just use my fingers, or you can use a paintbrush, or you can use one of these little sponges that Tonic make. You usually get them in a pack of 4. We have had them in craft kits in the past as well, so you might have already got a couple of them too. But those are great for spreading it on. Or you can also use a piece of cut and dry foam, or like an old makeup sponge or something as well. So loads of different ways to actually apply it to the card. You can use this thickly, like scraping it through a stencil. However, it doesn't keep the 3D dimension, as it dries, it will dry really flat, so you're kind of wasting your product if you apply it thickly. So what I do when I use it through a stencil, I use a sponge to apply it. You can also go back and apply a second layer if you want that more glitzy kind of a look, but I definitely think applying it in thin layers is much more product effective, so you're not using so much product. I don't really know what the word is for that, I can't think of it, but yeah, definitely using it in thinner applications I think is better. And also you can paint with them as well, which is really lovely. Like you could have stamped and coloured an image and use the white one over the top to just add a little bit of glittery sparkle, which I always think looks really pretty. And one of my other favourite things to use it with is to add some to your glass mat, water it down, and get a small paintbrush and flick it on as well. I think that gives a really lovely look. I think you could use this on a jelly plate if you like the kind of mixed media-y sort of look that a jelly plate gives. However, I haven't tried it on there just because I don't want the mica flakes to end up getting, you know, like static to the surface. Because if you've used Glacier paste before, you'll notice that when it's on your glass mat, all of the mica flakes in the product kind of lay flat and sort of static themselves to your glass surface. It is easy to clean up, you just use a baby wipe or a piece of kitchen roll and stuff, but I'm just a little bit dubious of using it on a jelly plate, but I think it would work. It's just, you know, depends whether you keep your jelly plate mucky or whether you like it to look really pristine, really, but I think it would work on there too. And also, obviously then, if you want to use it on a jelly plate, you can brayer it on, so you could brayer it onto cardstock. I've also shown my squishy technique where you blob it onto one piece of card, put another piece of card on top and pull it apart, or again you can do that with acetate too. So that's the Glacier paste. It is a relatively new product from Nuvo. Maybe a year ago or so the first colours came out, so you might not have seen the Nuvo Glacier paste before, but that is the first two pieces from this. Wow, I just talked for 7 minutes about Glacier paste. I didn't know I knew that much about it. But anyway, okay, the next thing I'll show you are the mousses. So in this colour trend we're actually getting 3 different mousses, which is really nice. Again, I am obsessed with this one, which is called Snowstorm, because it is white. Let me just find the other one that I have. So previously in the Nouveau Mousse line, the closest to white, or any of the white things, are these 3 that we've had. But this one's actually an expanding mousse, but if I show you with the other colours, you can see it really is a lovely white tone, because before these were the kind of whitest sort of colours that you could get, which are the pure platinum, which is kind of a really light silver, and also the mother of pearl one, which is obviously more of a creamy kind of colour. So this is definitely a lovely pure white one, which is really great, because it means when you're, I mean, you can colour these two as well, but you might get a slight tint of a warmer tone of the colour or a cooler tone of the colour, but with the white you can actually get the true kind of colour for tinting it as well. And also, I just wanted to show you a comparison, because it's quite nice to actually see that difference between the colours. It's difficult to tell online sometimes if you're trying to compare products. But so those are the kind of closest to white kind of colours that we've had in a normal mousse. And we have also had a white expanding mousse, and you can see this is even actually more of a true white than the white expanding mousse as well. I don't know whether that's really coming across. This is maybe more of a cool white, like a silvery white, but so this is a really nice product. I've really been enjoying this one, because you can actually, if you already have Nouveau Mousses, maybe you've bought the bright colours that have been on sale on the website recently. If you get the white one, you can then tone down and get those pastel colours for any of the bright tones that you've already bought. You can buy pastel Nouveau Mousses, but now they've brought out a white, it's actually quite nice to just have a few really bright colours and then use the white to tone it down as well. So I think that's a really lovely use for the white. So that is the Snowstorm, and then we also have these two you will have seen in the Tonic Craft kit. I think it was 33. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 33. you had a mini pot of each of these in that kit. So the other one is, this is a normal embellishment mousse like the white one, and this is the Polar Wind colour, which is a really gorgeous a dusky mid blue rather than a dusky dark blue, but it's kind of got more of a silvery tint to it than, you know, it's like a silvery blue. It's difficult to explain, but you will have seen me using it in a few videos already. And then the final one is an expanding mousse, which is this gorgeous colour. I really love this. This is called Iced Aqua. It's a really gorgeous blue. It's like an azure kind of blue, I think. Really gorgeous blue colour. Again, you'll have seen me using this in one of those kit videos as well. I'll just quickly run through the differences between the mousses. So the normal embellishment mousse, which is the original kind of mousse product that Tonic brought out, they all come in the same size pot, but the normal mousse has a white lid to it. It also says embellishment mousse on it, but just from looking, if you had them all in a stack, the normal mousse has a white lid and the expanding mousse has a grey lid, and if you've seen the Crackle mousse as well, they have an octagonal lid, I think. But that's just like a quick visual aid to help you pick out which one you're looking for. But also, you can use an expanding mousse exactly as you would a normal mousse. So if you don't like the look that an expanding mousse gives, just use it as a normal embellishment mousse and it works just fine. There's no need to actually expand it if you don't want to. So with a normal mousse, you can do loads of different techniques with these. You can watercolour with them, you can brayer with them, you can use these on the jelly plate. They work really nicely on the jelly plate. I've done some of my first videos using Nouveau embellishment mousse years ago are on the jelly plate, and it works really lovely. And also in conjunction with acrylic paint, it works really nicely too. You can apply this more thickly with a palette knife. You can water it down and paint with it with a paintbrush or splatter it on like I like doing. You can apply this sort of more thickly as well, and it dries with the dimensions, so you could use it through a stencil. You could die cut an intricate die that you have, maybe a patterned panel die, and use it as if it was a stencil and scrape it through as well. And obviously remove the stencil and then leave the background to dry, and it's quite easy to remove off a stencil as well. The glimmer paste that Tonic do is trickier to remove off a stencil. You kind of have to get that off straight away. The embellishment mousse and expanding mousse, it does dry relatively quickly onto a stencil, but it's water based, so it's not too difficult to get off if you accidentally did leave it to dry on the stencil. I recommend just like soaking it in warm soapy water, the stencil I mean, and then using an old toothbrush to scrub at it, because sometimes it kind of builds up in the tiny details of a stencil, and if it dries in there, you can poke it out once it's dry just using a pokey tool, but it's a bit of a pain to do that. I find the quickest way and easiest way to clean a stencil after using any mousses is warm soapy water and an old toothbrush to scrub at it. Obviously be careful that you don't bend any bits of the stencil, but you can just scrub all the little details to get it out. And then I think that's most of the uses. And then, oh, and also, sorry, you can also, like the main kind of way of using it as a product you might have used before, like a gilding polish. So you can actually just apply it with your finger on top of a embossed piece of cardstock using an embossing folder, or the kind of faux embossing folder look where you stuck die cuts of the same colour as the backing card onto the card, and then you can just use some mousse to accent it as well. So that is the embellishment mousse. You can use the expanding mousse in the exact same way as the embellishment mousse, but if you apply heat to it, it expands. So you can apply it really thinly, either with a brayer or blending it on with a piece of sponge. And even though it's in a really thin layer, if you do apply heat to it, it kind of gives like this faux suede kind of a look, which is really interesting. Or if you apply it really thickly, you get a really puffed kind of effect from the expanding mousse, which I'll show you in some of my finished samples. And you don't have to rush, which is brilliant. So you can spread this through a stencil to get your intricate design, take the stencil off, go and wash the stencil, just so you don't have to struggle with trying to get it off later on, and then you can come back and heat it. So you don't have to rush. there is like obviously maybe a half an hour window or something that you've got to heat it if you want to heat it, but you can just leave it to dry without heating it and it will give you the same look as the embellishment mousse as well. So if you don't like the expanded look, just use it like an embellishment mousse. But when you do apply heat to it, you get this gorgeous puffy effect, and while the mousse is still wet before you puff it, you can actually add glitter to it as well, which I really like doing. And you can even put in confetti and stuff from the Nouveau range. Most of the confetti that I think all the confetti I've tried actually seems to be heat stable, so it doesn't, like the heat that you use to expand the mousse doesn't melt the confetti pieces. Or the glitter. They seem to be pretty heat stable for the temperatures needed to expand the mousse, which is brilliant. And then for expanding the mousse, you don't want to stay in one place for too long. Once you've seen that it's expanded, obviously move on to the next area, just like with heat embossing. Once you've seen something happens, move on to the next bit. And you can use any heat gun to heat this. So if you have the Ranger one that looks more like a hairdryer, or if you have a directional one, you can use either of them to expand the mousse. It doesn't matter which kind of heat tool that you have, which is brilliant. And I haven't managed to overheat it, so I think it is possible to overheat, but obviously if you treat it like embossing powder, once you see that something's happened and it's puffed up nicely, then move on to the next bit. And also this has a pearlescent finish like the embellishment mousse, but when you puff it up, it does kind of go more of a matte finish. So if you want to add more of this metallic kind of shine back to it, just add a little bit of this back over the top of the expanded mousse, or use a different colour to pick up that little puffy texture that you get. So I think I've explained everything that you can do with a mousse as well for 10 minutes. So I hope you are going to enjoy all of this explanation. Okay, the next thing, let's show the sparkle spray. So I can't remember how long ago the sparkle sprays came out actually. I think maybe it was the end of last year. I don't think it was this year. But I think they brought out 6 colours of sparkle spray, and then we had one in the previous colour trend that was a really deep purple, and this one is the gorgeous Peacock Plume, which you will have had a mini one of these in Tonic Craft Kit 33 if you got that one. They are a really densely filled sparkle spray, which is really lovely actually, to get a really intense look, or to use to create an inky background. You can spray this on and then add quite a lot of water and still get quite a deep colour. So you could either do that directly onto a piece of card to get a sparkly coloured background, or you can use the white mat that comes with the glass media mat, and you can spray this spray and water and even add mousses in directly to the mat and squish your card into that to get a cool background as well. Obviously you can spray this through stencils, or you can just use it to create the overall kind of background colour as well. You can also watercolour with this. You can spray a little bit or tip a little bit out onto your glass mat and use it to watercolour with or to splatter with as well. So any kind of use that you would usually use an ink spray for, you can use this spray for. I also like to water them down as well. If you just get an empty spray bottle, like you can get these sort of little ones off of Amazon, they often sell them, or you know, these kind of ones with the clippy bit on the lid. If you just get an empty one of those and fill it maybe 1/5 of the way with the sparkle spray and then dilute it with water, you can then get a gorgeous slightly more subtle look to your spray as well, and keep the full strength one in the original bottle but have a subtle version as well for those times where you might not want to actually add water to your project but you want the subtler look, if that makes sense. Also, they have, I don't know if you can hear it, they've got a ball bearing inside them, so you obviously need to make sure this is really well mixed before you use them. I have been storing mine upright just because it's easier for space saving to have them all upright. A lot of people say store them sideways, but I haven't had any problems with storing them upright, so I think it's just however you want to store them really. But obviously if you are storing them upright, you still want to make sure that's really well dispersed in there, and having it upright means you're going to have to work a bit harder to get it off just the bottom versus the whole side of the bottle if you've left it lying down. Also, you want to make sure you keep putting the cap on. Once you finish using it, put the cap back on. You also might want to just clean this with a little bit of kitchen roll, maybe even a baby wipe, to make sure there's no particles of glitter or anything over the hole. And also, you can do the same thing that you do with the mica mist, where you take the whole uptake tube out and put that in some clean water and keep spraying until the sprayer runs clean. I haven't actually done that with any of my sparkle sprays, and they haven't actually clogged, so I think maybe keeping the lid on it is really helping as well. Okay, so that is the sparkle spray. I think I've given a few ways of using that as well. So that is that. Then the next thing, let's show you the Nuvo glitter marker. I have given a lot of top tips for these in kit unboxing videos, because we often get a single glitter marker in the kits, which is really lovely. You can build up a nice collection that way as well. So there's loads of different ways of using the Nuvo glitter markers. They come in a package like this, and you can just easily pop them out. You can keep that if you want to, you know, just as like a reference for what glitter markers you have. You could have them all just in a pot and keep them. And it also tells you the number, or the name, sorry, of the pen on there as well. So this one is called Arctic Blast, and it's a really gorgeous, almost a kind of a greeny blue, a little bit of a turquoisey kind of a colour. Really pretty tone. Let me get a piece of card to show you. So I have already activated this because I've been using it, but if you go back to Tonic Craft Kit 34 unboxing, I know I definitely showed you how to activate one of these in that. But the way I activate mine is this looks a creamy colour when you get it, the nib of the pen, and all I do is I put the lid back on, I shake it for a bit, then I hold, obviously take the lid off, I hold it down on my glass mat for, you know, like 30 seconds or something. Then sometimes it's completely already activated it and all the colour is in the nib. If not, put the lid back on and shake it again, and usually then you can start seeing the colour wick into it, and then you can just repeat that until the nib is completely saturated with the colour and the glitter. So they're really easy to activate, and then all you want to do is just draw with them or scribble with them. You can also watercolour with these. If you draw the pen directly onto the card and try and drag the colour out, you do still get the harsh line of where the pen touched the paper, because they're really highly pigmented. Let me zoom in a bit. But if you want a smoother look than that, you can just scribble onto your glass cutting mat or a piece of acetate or anything with a slick surface, an acrylic block, and then you can paint with it like that, and then you don't get the harsh lines. And obviously then you can even add more water to it and get a much subtler kind of effect as well, depending on how much water you add. So really great for watercolouring, and I do recommend scribbling it onto your mat first before using the colour for a watercolour effect, because you get a much nicer result from doing that. Also, there are so many different techniques that you can do with a glitter marker. I think they're kind of underestimated in the Nouveau range, but obviously this way you can paint with it, you can pick that up and splat with it as well. You can use the actual pen to edge your card, oops, or not go off the edge, like that. You can press the nib against the edge of the card and actually give a gorgeous glittery edge to the piece of card. So you can do that kind of thing. It kind of gives like a faux matte layer, or just brings the glitter to the outside of the card, which is really lovely. You can also colour with them neatly as well, just like this. If you want to colour an image, you just get a really densely sparkly and coloured lay down of ink from them, so you can do that too. You can also stamp with them, which I really love doing. So you want to make sure the the end of it's nice and juicy, so you can just pump it a couple of times. And then you want to use the side of the pen and sort of hold the pen like this and have your stamp and scribble onto it, and then you can stamp with it either straight away, or you can spritz it with a little bit of water to get the ink moving, and you can stamp with it that way as well. So loads of different ways of using the glitter marker. And this is the Arctic Blast, is the new one from the White Wonderland colour trend. Also, in terms of keeping these and storing them, I actually have a pot in front of me, and I keep them up the wrong way, so I keep them with the lid facing down, partly because you can then see the colour on the end of them, so it's really quick to grab which colour you want to use, but also because if the ink is right down this way, it's always going to be ready at the nib of the pen, so you don't have to pump it so much after you've taken it out of the pot. If you've kept it up this way, the ink is kind of draining out of the nib, so if it's been a while since you've used them, you might have to pump it a few times just to get the ink back into the nib, but that's fine too. So whichever way you want to store them is fine. You could even store them horizontal if you want to, so any way round is perfectly fine for storing these. And I just wanted to mention that because I've been storing them upside down, but I've not had any problems with them leaking. Not a single one has leaked, and even if it did, that seal is really nice and tight on the pen, so I don't think it would leak out. I think it would just fill the lid. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that too. So I'm going to put that one in my pot now, which is practically full. But yeah, so that is the glitter marker. Okay, next is a mini ink pad set. Usually the mini ink pads are brand new colours that go along with the colour trend, but this one is actually called Principal Inks, which is all of their 3 main really useful inks to own, and they actually make these in the full size as well. So we've had them in the full size in the past. This was from their original release of 7 ink pads. They had a blue, a red, a green, a brown, and then the grey, the black and the clear sticky ink for heat embossing as well, which comes with a white lid rather than the grey lid. And now we have a gorgeous mini pack of them. So if you've never tried the hybrid inks that Tonic do, if you've never tried the black, grey and clear, because they're in a larger pad and you may not have wanted to buy a larger pad, you can now get the little mini pack, which is brilliant. So we have the Clear Mark, the Metro Grey and the Black Shadow, and the great thing about the Tonic hybrid diamond ink pads is the word hybrid in them, so you can actually use them to stamp and colour with your alcohol pens. You can stamp and colour with watercolour pencils, with your aquaflows, with your glitter markers, with absolutely anything. If you use these inks, you don't have to think about what you're then going to do to whatever you've stamped afterwards, which is brilliant. I do really enjoy using these inks as well. I do use the Metro Grey quite often, and obviously the Black Shadow I'm always using for stamping and colouring with my alcohol pens. And also it's always handy to have a baby Clear Mark ink pad. So this is basically like Perfect Medium or Versamark. So a little sticky ink pad for your heat embossing. But having the mini one is actually really handy because you can also, as well as just like inking up smaller stamps or doing smaller projects or having less space on your desk and you want to have your embossing inks out and stuff, it's also great for doing your swatches. So if you wanted to swatch all your embossing powders, I did some swatches recently for a different brand of embossing powders, but what I did was I drew a big square that was roughly this kind of size, and I cut it off diagonally and coloured the bottom triangle in black and then left the top one white, and then I used the mini ink pad and pressed it over the square that I'd drawn and then embossed it with the embossing powder colour to see if the embossing powder was truly opaque or whether it had some translucency to it. So I think that's a really good way of swatching your powders. I hadn't thought to do it before, but I just got a load of new ones that are kind of mica filled as well, so sometimes you don't know if it's more of a translucent embossing powder and it has mica in it too, then it might show up differently on black card as it would to white card. So I think this little Clear Mark one is brilliant for doing any of your swatches as well. And I can take these out of the packaging. I love Nouveau's packaging, it's always so nice nicely packaged. And actually you could use this as a little tray for putting paints in. I know they're all actually joined, but as like a little quick water pot on your desk, or to squirt acrylic paint in, and then, you know, peel it out once it's dried off and stuff. I tend to keep these a lot of these little things because they're really useful for using on your desk. So the little baby pads, they're in the diamond formation, which just means their label is that way round because they look really sweet that way. But they are, I think, is it 1.5 inch cube? Just less than 1.5 inch cube, but they fit absolutely perfectly in the mini Distress ink tins that Ranger make. I love keeping mine in these. I've got quite a few of them now, but they fit absolutely perfectly inside these. And whenever I have a sponge with any of these, I just place it underneath, because these are a different moulded plastic than the normal mini Distress inks. The foams don't actually fit and stay. They just, there's a gap for them to rest, but they don't lock in like they do with a mini Distress ink. So all I do is I just keep the sponge underneath. It does make them a little bit wobbly in there, but everything's all together then, and you're not going to lose the sponges and have to start another one for the different colours that you've got as well. So that's how I store mine. I know I've shared that before, and a few of you have found that useful to know that they definitely do fit in these. So I'll make sure to link these little tins below because they're so useful and they look really nice. They do get a little bit battered, I mean, as they get older. This is one of my first ones. This is, must be 5, no, older than that. Maybe 6 or 7 years old, this one. It's one of the first ones, and it's not too battered. It's been around a bit, this one. It's moved quite a bit and stuff, but a fresh new one. It's not too different really, and they might have changed them a little bit. They might age better now as well, but yeah, they do, and they stand up to everything really as well. They're really nice and sturdy, and the lid on there has stayed really well tight into it and everything. So I think they're a really great investment to store all of your inks, and it makes it so easy having them on a shelf next to you as well. So those are the mini ink pads. Okay, the next thing is the gorgeous little set of Pure Sheen, which is sequins, 2 glitters and a confetti as well. If you got Tonic Craft Kit 33, you'll have had a random selection of 2 of these. And if you got the iridescent ice stars, I think these are so gorgeous. I've really enjoyed using these. I've put them on almost every single card that I've made with this colour trend. They're just so lovely. They're that white with that iridescent kind of finish on them. We've had a couple of things in the Nouveau line, in the Nouveau Pure Sheen line. I think it's the rainbow quartz triangles, and there was like cloud circle confetti as well. I think are the only 2 that have had this gorgeous finish, but I really, really like these iridescent ice stars. So they come in a little pack of 4, so you can get them all together, which is really nice because they work so nicely together. And they also work really nicely with all of the other products too, like I said about sprinkling the glitter onto the expanding mousse before you expand it as well. And obviously this little set is called White Wonderland because this is the White Wonderland colour trend, and you get all the little bottles inside. This is actually quite a nice way of keeping them because you know they're all together in that colour trend then, and you know they all work together, which is really nice. Then I think I've said this in a previous video, I cannot remember what video though, but these sets of 4 used to come in glass bottles, but now they come in plastic bottles, which is why the packaging is smaller. So they used to come in bigger packaging, and they were sort of spaced out in a plastic divider in the bottom because they were glass, so you didn't want them to touch in transit and possibly smash each other. But they've now made them in plastic bottles, so the packaging looks smaller because they're all next to each other, because it doesn't matter about them touching. But they are the same size, so any of the multi-packs you've bought in the past, they're the same size bottles, they're just plastic rather than glass now. But if you've bought any of the individual bottles, they are smaller than the individual bottles. So these ones are 25ml, whereas the big individual ones are 35ml. So just so you know, sort of size-wise, and you can work out the value of them and everything as well. I think this kind of set is usually $9.99, I think. so it works out like £2.50 for one of these, whereas the bigger ones, I think £3.50 or £3.99 per little pot. So I think it works out good value getting these, and obviously there's always offers on the Tonic website as well, where you can grab a bargain and get them slightly reduced as well, which is brilliant. But anyway, this is the set of 4. So you have the iridescent ice stars, which I'll show you up close in a minute because they're my absolute favourite, which is the confetti, and then you get the Sub-Zero sequins. Again, I'll show you them on my hand in a minute because there's different sizes in there. Usually you don't get different sizes in the small bottles. They're usually all the same size and they're all a bigger size, but they've made the Sub-Zero ones in multiple sizes, which is brilliant, because if you get them all in one bottle it takes up way less room, and you don't have to have bought 3 different bottles of the same colour to get the 3 different sizes. I like to use 3 different sizes on my cards, so that's why I'm really pleased about that. Then we have the 2 glitters as well. So we've got Blue Blizzard, which is a gorgeous blue. It's actually, where did I just put that? A really great blue to go with the glitter marker and the sparkle spray as well. Really gorgeous match with those, and actually the expanding mousse goes real nicely. And then the white kind of one is Drifting Snow. I'm pretty certain in my unboxing video of Tonic Craft Kit 33 I did a little test with the Drifting Snow to show if you could see through it or not on double-sided sticky sheet. I'm pretty sure you could see through it, so go and check that out if you want any more information about some of these bits and pieces that I've shown you. I know I show the dies and stuff in there too, but I also showed some tips and tricks for things like this. And also, if you're wondering why has Nuvo brought out another white glitter, they are all different. They all have a different look to them. So you've got Diamond, which has got like green and pink reflecty colours in it, like a sort of a classic iridescent kind of finish. Then you have Ice White, which is one that is more opaque and you can't really see what's underneath it, which is completely no like interference colours, it's just like white. Then there was, I think it was called Snowdrift, that came out in the Jingle Bells Pure Sheen collections, where you had the glitters, the confettis and the sequins all in separate sets. And then we've got this one as well, which is really pretty. I can't remember, what did I just say that one was called? No, maybe it was called Snowstorm. Did I just say that? I can't remember what I just said. But anyway, there is a white one in that collection as well. But this one has got like a bluey purpley kind of tint to it, which is really pretty. You'll be able to see it a little bit better on some of the cards as well. So those are the Pure Sheen confettis and glitters. I also love that they have the Nuvo embossed on the lid too. I really like that. And let's just show you these as well. Look, I've been using these loads and there is still tons left in this. So they really do go a long way. And I love the irregular shape of these. So they've got that gorgeous iridescent finish on them. This kind of shows pink and bluey colours. But I love the little irregular shape. It's like a little irregular star, which is really pretty. So those are the confettis. And then the sequins, I'll show you one of each size so you can see. Oh, that's the same size. I love the tiny ones. They're so cute. So those are the 3 different sizes of the sequins as well. So you get a little, you can do them in clusters of 3 then actually. It looks really nice like that. Or I like to scatter one, I usually use 1 big one, 2 mediums and 2 little ones across a card. But really pretty. And you can also fill the centre with the Nuvo drops too. And speaking of Nuvo drops, the last Nuvo thing to show you is the little selection of Nuvo drops. So, what I love about these colour trends for this year, for 2020, we've got extra drops that weren't out in 2019, or they came out in 2019, so they weren't part of the 2019 colour trends, but we have got a gorgeous variety of Nuvo drops now in these colour trends for 2020. So we have a jewel drop, which you will have seen in Tonic Craft Kit number 33. We have a stone drop, we have a dream drop, which are my favourite, and we also have a pearlescent finished Nuvo drop as well. So this is the jewel drop, which is called Iceberg Blue, and it's a gorgeous translucent blue colour, which is a different blue to the previous blues that have been released in the jewel drop line. Again, I went into detail on that in the kit unboxing video, which I'll make sure is one of the videos linked at the end, considering I've mentioned it like 10 times already. So that is that. Then the metallic finish of drop as well, really gorgeous. I don't think I have many metallic blues. I think the only metallic blue I've got is a dark blue. So this is a really nice addition to the collection as well. I haven't actually got all of the Nouveau drops, so I can't do a comparison between all the different blues, but it's a really gorgeous colour. I can actually squirt some of this out. I'll squirt some of all of them out so you can see them. So this is the jewel drop. And then this is the metallic one. You can also swirl the drop, which is really nice because then you get that kind of metallic swirl, but you don't have to do that actually. I'll show you both. So let's show, this is the jewel drop, that one there, and then this is the metallic drop. I didn't say the name of that, did I? Blue Ice, the metallic one, and you can see this one here is just dropping it out like I did with the jewel drop, but the one next to it, the slightly larger one, I twirled the drop as it was coming out the bottle, and then because of that metallic finish that's in there, you actually get a swirly effect on top of it as well. I really like doing that. Then we also get the stone drop, which is called Morning Fog, which is a lovely, a really dusky blue colour, so it's much more on the grey side, which is really pretty and is very different to the other blue and grey that we've had in the stone drops before, because the other grey is more of a silver, but this is a really nice dusky blue, so it's a very blue-grey kind of a colour, which is really lovely. And the stone drops dry with that texture, so they've got loads of little particle-y things inside it, and then when it dries, the kind of suspension that they're in sort of shrinks back a little bit and you can feel the texture that's in there. And then the dream drop is absolutely stunning. I love dream drops so much. This one's called Frosted Lake, and these have that gorgeous iridescent finish, which is really in at the moment because we've had iridescent card and then we've got iridescent drops. There's iridescent looks from glitters and confettis and all sorts, so you can really go iridescent mad on your cards, which is lovely. And so that is the dream drop. It really looks like a pearl there actually. Really gorgeous. I love the dream drops. And there's so many different techniques that you can do with the Nouveau drops. On one of my cards I showed my little squish method that I'm kind of obsessed with at the moment, using these three together, but doing it in rows rather than a random background like I usually do. But you can also do different techniques where you like flood die cuts with them as well. Dream drops are brilliant for that flooding technique, and so are the metallic ones. The jewel drops can crack. Let me get there. Okay, so this card has been sitting on my shelf for like 4 years. It's one of the first, it is the first time I ever used Nouveau drops. I've shown it in multiple different videos, but I really love this card. But this is, I've used the jewel drops and the gloss drops. We don't have a gloss one here, but they do crack. When you flood an area like this, they do crack, which does give a really cool look. So that's just the gloss, and that's the jewel drop with a bit of gloss twirled into it as well. But this is the technique of flooding an area, but the jewel ones and the gloss ones do crack when you do that. However, the dream drops, the metallic ones, the vintage drops and glitter drops don't tend to crack. They must have a different kind of plasticity to them, and they're more malleable, I suppose, and they don't tend to crack apart like this. I don't think stone drops would either, actually. I don't think I've ever flooded anything with stone drops, but I don't think they would crack either. But sometimes that is a really nice look just to have, as well as a different kind of look. And obviously also this card shows you the swirling technique. So that is a jewel drop, and then I took, in this case, a gloss drop, but you could do it with the metallic ones. I might show you. You can just take a pokey tool and a little bit of the drop and actually swirl it in, and obviously here where I've flooded it with the jewel drop and then swirled in some of the gloss drop as well. So loads of different ways of using the drops. You can actually just make drops with them. You can mix drops together to create swirly effects of drops, or you can flood areas with them. You can squish them and create really cool backgrounds. What else have I done with them? You can pre-make them and also make different things out of them. So bumblebees and ladybirds are really cool to make with the drops. Obviously these colours wouldn't work, but it's a really cool way of using your drops in a different way as well. So I'll show you the swirling thing that I like to do. It might be difficult to see, but I will try my best. So I'll just pick up a little bit of this. So what I do is I'm going to do a swirl on the dream drop and I'm going to do a swirl on the jewel drop to show you. So I would just squirt out a random bit of my metallic drop or a gloss drop or whatever other drop you want to use and take it onto my pokey tool. So I've just got a little drop on there, and then you start in the middle and you literally just swirl it around the top. Sometimes you want to reload, or you can just go for a slightly more subtle effect and not reload. You might misshape the drop a little bit, but obviously if you do it while it's still wet, it will just level back into the sort of dome shape. And that looks really cool. You could see on that card, because the jewel drop dries translucent, this swirl of a more opaque colour kind of looks like it's floating on there, which is really interesting look. And then you can do the same with the dream drop as well. You might want to practice this technique a little bit before doing it onto your actual project, or you can pre-make them and do this on pre-made ones, and then it doesn't really matter if you mess it up or anything. But that is the metallic one on top of a dream drop. You can also do it with the stone drops as well. I have done it with stone drops in the past. I actually swirled 2 stone drops together before as well, and that works too. You do get a different finish, like a different kind of effect when you do it on a stone drop, but you can do it on the stone drop too. So I just thought I'd show you that too. That looks really cool actually. It looks like some kind of fossil or something. So yeah, that's a really fun way of using your drops as well. And so that is all the Nouveau that is in this colour trend, and I'll just move some of this out of the way and I'll get the CRaFTi to show you. Okay, so I've got all the CRaFTi to show you as well, and I actually have everything, which is brilliant, so I can show you up close of the patterned papers and the patterns that are on there as well. So as well as having the A4 sheets of the cardstock from the colour trend and the patterned paper pad like we've had before, I did show this in the last colour trend, which was the Tropical Paradise, but Tonic have also started adding to the colour trend the 6x6 pad of the sort of mixed speciality kind of cardstock. They've done these in the past. They brought out 6 together and then 4 together, I think. There's ones that have the foiled craft card in them, ones that are like Christmas themed. Oh no, there was 4, then 6, then 4, I think, because you had before the colour theme ones and the foiled craft card ones. There was also the like December skies and stuff like that, where you, instead of getting all of the same type of a card in different colours, you kind of got the actual ones that go really nicely together, similar to these kind of ones. So you can get the White Wonderland one. If you work on small cards like I do, this might be a good option for you, because I think they're $5.99, I think, for the little 6x6 pad, but you get 4 different cardstocks in them then, and if you work on smaller cards you don't really need A4 cardstock. Sometimes it's a pain to have to store lots of big sheets of card as well, but the reason why I mentioned the price is some of the packets of card, I think maybe they're $3.99 or $4.99 each, so instead of just getting one packet of A4 card with 5 sheets of the same type, you could go for this and try out all the different ones, and then if you do prefer one of them, or you've used one of them a lot, you can then buy a bigger packet of it and just get that colour if you want to as well. So I think this is a great little set to get, and in this one you get the first 4 cardstocks that I'm going to show you, which is the Misty Grey Classic card, the Caribbean Sea Pearlescent card, which is double-sided, the Silver Pinstripes, which I think is my favourite, and also the Turkish Turquoise High Gloss Mirror card as well. So that is that little pack. I haven't opened mine, but I'll just show you all the cardstock from the bigger sheets. And then we also have the White Wonderland 6x6 pattern paper pad, which has got 24 sheets in it, and there's 8 different designs. Oh, and they're 160 GSM, the paper, and it is 6x6 and double-sided as well. So the first design, we've got a light blue background with this sort of little diamond motif pattern that's also in a diamond kind of grid pattern across the pattern paper as well, in a slightly darker blue. Then on the back of that one, you've got a stripy effect. They're all almost the same size stripes. I think the white is slightly narrower than the colours, but it goes from a darker to a lighter blue with the white in between. Then the next pattern is this gorgeous lattice pattern. So you've got a darker, it's actually got a grid in the background too, I think, unless that's just making my eyes go funny. I think there is actually a grid, a faint grid on the dark blue background, and then there's a lattice going diagonally from the grid pattern in the lighter blue as well. I think you can see that on camera. I don't know if that's an optical illusion or whether that is actually a grid, but anyway, it's really pretty. And then on the back of that, you get a light blue background with a uniform pattern of little 5-pointed stars in a darker blue colour all over it. So that's really lovely. Then the next one is a plaid design. So you've got the lighter blue background with really skinny white stripes and slightly wider darker blue stripes to give you a sort of plaid or tartany kind of a look for the background. And then on the back of that one, you've got the light blue background with a random dot pattern, and they are actually hand-drawn dots, so they're not completely round, and they're sort of in more of a, oh, it is a repeating pattern. You can see strips of it actually there, but it is random, but it does repeat, but it's a random pattern. And then the last ones, or the last double-sided you get, is this gorgeous diagonal stripe with a really wide darker blue stripe on the lighter blue background. I really do love diagonal stripes, and it's perfect to just cut this. I have a piece here actually, because I was going to use it and then I decided not to, but you can just cut an actual panel to use, and actually if you line it up with another piece going in the opposite direction, you can get a gorgeous chevron design there as well, to give you an extra different pattern to use as well. And then on the back of that, you've got a lighter blue background with circles all over it in dots. So it's like a dotty circle. How many dots are there? 5, 6, 7. So 12 dots going around the circle in a dark blue, and then that is uniformly spaced across the background as well. Imagine Nuvo drops in all of those dots. That would look lovely. So that's more of a uniform dot rather than the random dot as well. So you've got all of those patterns, and there's 6 of each design as well. So lots to choose from. So if you like this pattern more, you could just use 6 of those, or you could use 3 of that and 3 of the back side pattern as well, or just 6 of that pattern. So lots of options for making your cards, which is brilliant. And also because you get 6 of each, if you like layering up, you've got extra patterned papers to add more layers onto your card as well. So that is the White Wonderland 6x6 paper pad. Then all of the cardstock, I won't show this too much because it's just gonna, yeah, there you go, my camera. It's just really reflective, but it is a gorgeous turquoise colour, very similar to the expanding mousse actually. It's almost exactly the same colour as that, so imagine that in a mirror card. That's the kind of colour of this. Again, if you got Tonic Craft Kit 33, you will have had a sheet of all of these cardstocks in there as well. But that is that gorgeous mirror card, which is called Turkish Turquoise, and it is a really gorgeous colour actually. Really lovely for that kind of wintry Christmas card sort of a look. Then we also have this one, which is my favourite. I've got a couple sheets out of it, but look how gorgeous this is. This is called Silver Pinstripe. Yeah, Silver Pinstripe, and it really is a pinstripe. Like you could literally only get a pin between the stripes in there as well. Really pretty. I really like this one. Really gorgeous. Similar kind of look to the Silver Silk card that CRaFTi have done in the past, but a daintier kind of version. So if you like small cards like me, it's nice to have a dainty pattern because it really does show up nicely on a card. And I've really been enjoying cutting strips of it going across, so you've got like a strip of card with little tiny lines in it as well. Really, really like that. So that's that one. Then there's also Caribbean Sea, which is their double-sided pearlescent cardstock. A really lovely blue colour, this one. Really nice. What's it kind of similar to? Well, it is very similar to the Jewel Drop, actually. And it's a slightly greenier blue than the sequins. But obviously everything goes really nicely together. But really, really gorgeous colour. So that's the Caribbean Sea. And then we have the textured card as well, which is their classic kind of cardstock, which is called Misty Grey, and it has that texture on one side, sort of a random linen kind of a look, and then it is smooth on the other side. You can still see the texture, but it is smooth. And those 4 cards I've just shown you are the ones that you get in the little 6x6 card pack as well. Oh, and also sheet wise, the number of sheets you get in a pack, I always forget to say this, classic card you get 10 sheets because it's just more of a basic kind of a classic cardstock, and all of the other ones like the cotton papers and the mirror card and pearlescent card and everything is all 5 sheets in that packet. And then the final one, which isn't in the 6x6 pad because this is actually a handmade paper, is the Arctic Ice. So if you wanted to try all of the new CRaFTi, you could save yourself a bit of money and buy the 6x6 pad and this pack of the handmade paper, so then you get everything, but you don't have to buy all 5 of the large packs. But this is really gorgeous. We've had this pattern a couple times, I think, in different colours. I think I have an oldie goldie kind of a colour of this, but I really like this one because again it's a really nice dainty pattern, so perfect for smaller cards. Really pretty. I like this one a lot. So that is the Arctic Ice handcrafted cotton paper. Okay, so that is all of the Nuvo and CRaFTi, and then I'll move on to showing you some samples that I've made. Okay, so I got all my samples. I hadn't used the sequins, I don't think, so I pulled out this card just to show how I like to scatter the little sequins. You will have seen a video for this. This is using Tonic Craft Kit number 33 with all that colour trend in it, and you will have seen a sped up video for this as well if you like watching these kind of videos. This is where I did the squish in the background using just the jewel drops. Then I sprinkled in the white glitter and also the star-shaped confetti, and then I've just scattered some of the sequins in the background. I just wanted to show them in use as well, and then I think I've shown everything else in my other cards. But look how cool those star sequins really catch the light. It's really lovely. I really like them. So yeah, I thought I'd just throw that one in as well. So what shall I show you first? I'm going to show this one first because this is kind of like a byproduct of this one. So this, I've got all the dies next to me still, I haven't put them away yet. I can tell you what they're called. Okay, so the dies I used, oh sorry for my squeaky chair, the dies I used on this card are the Woodland Scene frame die, which is one of the newest Christmas dies, and also the Winter Tag sentiment die. I used the Winter Wishes one on this card. But also going back to the actual video of using the White Wonderland, I scooped out some of the 3 different mousses and put them on my glass mat. Then I just used, I used a sponge actually, yes. I used one of those sponges that I showed you earlier, the white ones. And I just spread the white, and then I switched ends of the sponge and spread the lighter blue colour. Then went back to the white and blended that really nicely. And then went on to the expanding mousse and blended that on the bottom, and then went back to the middle coloured blue and blended that together. So you can see you get a really nice blend, and you can just use the expanding mousse as a normal mousse and it goes really nicely. And then you can see that just catching the light there. I took a little bit of the white Glacier paste and just used my finger to smear it across the kind of middle of the card there, just to add a little bit of extra sparkle on it too. So that's how I created that background. Then I've also accented with a little bit of the glitter down here. I've used the Dream Drops and I've also used some of the confetti on there as well. But because I'd scooped out some of the mousse and I had it on my desk, I didn't want to waste it. So I just took another A4 piece of white card, and I literally just used my fingers, and I just went like this across the card with all of the different colours really randomly, and I included the Glacier paste and everything. And then I got this really cool background. It's really like motion filled because of going backwards and forwards, and you've got that Glacier paste in there too. But I was like, oh well, I might as well make this into a card too, and I actually used an offcut of it to go behind the sentiment on this card. And then to finish this card, I made it just really simple. This is using one of the old what were they called? Trio dies that Tonic brought out. This was how many years ago? I don't think it was last Christmas. I think it was the Christmas before. This gorgeous snowflake. There was a set of 3 different ones, and I just used the outside sort of bubble die and the interior die, and then I put some double-sided sticky behind, put the intricate one back in, and then used the white glitter on that as well. And the little Noel is from another die set that I'll show you in a bit. And then around the edge, I just used my Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, which I've added the lid from a Woodware fine tip applicator bottle onto the top of it. So really simple to do with that. Just take the lid off the bottle and put it on there. And I just ran a bead of glue around the edge after I'd stuck the panel to the card, and then I just added some more of that white glitter just to add a little sparkly edge to the card as well. So that is that one. Then I'll show you this one because I can show you the die set that Noel came out of. So this is using this die set, which is the Staggered Stage Winter Village die set, which came out pretty recently to me filming this video. I really love all the different icons in this set. I think they're so gorgeous. I love like this one's got the little ice skaters, but the backing piece has actually got trees. I really love that. And you've got the gorgeous little houses, a little row of houses with a church on the end and a little lamppost, and you've got the little trees and all sorts of gorgeous little designs in here. Obviously this is actually a dimensional die set that creates one of these cool staggered cards, but I really loved all the little accents out of it, and so you can just use it for a flat card as well. And that's where the Noel came from that I've used on that one. And so for this one, the background is actually Glacier paste. So I took both the Glacier paste, scooped some out, put it on my glass mat, and then took a wide paintbrush. My one's actually still drying in my bathroom, but just one like this, just a wide flat paintbrush, and I dipped it in water and then like smushed it around in the Glacier paste and just swiped it across like this, and then I cleaned the brush out, went with the blue, and then as I got to the middle I picked a bit more of the white up and sort of blended it really nicely to get this sort of blustery, wintry, snowfally kind of sky look to the card. And in the rest of the sky I've also added some of the confetti and the Dream Drops too. And then I added all those little die cuts from that die set I showed you. And then for the snow, I used the stone drops to create snow along the bottom. And then I sprinkled in some of that turquoise glitter that's in the little Pure Sheen set as well. So that's how I did that one. And I also used a couple of strips of, oh there's one of those strips that I said I liked using. If you cut it, that was widthways across the cardstock, you then get a little stripy strip using that pinstripe card. I really love doing that. And then down the bottom I used the pinstripe card with the mirror card on top, and I've used that mirror card just with white card as well for all of the little elements on this card. So that is that one, using the stone drops and the Glacier pastes as well. Then I also did this one, which is using a lot of the patterned papers and all of the Craft Perfect to create one of these scrap kind of backgrounds where you what I do is I take a piece of printer paper and then I cover it with some double-sided adhesive. You can use the Craft Perfect adhesive sheets, or I just have one of those really wide rolls. It's a 6-inch wide roll of double-sided, and you cover the piece of paper however big of an area you want to do, and then you just go through. You can either use your scraps or deliberately cut strips of varying widths of all your different cardstock and patterned papers, and then you just start laying them down. So I usually start in the middle. I just pick the diagonal that I want to go on, stick the first one down, and then you just butt the other ones up against it as you go, and then you just get this really cool background. And I love mixing the different finishes of cards. So like you can see there, that mirror card is really shining through, and I've kind of tried to space it out really nicely. And I've also got the pearlescent card, the handmade paper, the silver pinstripe one, and some of the patterned paper in there too. Then on some of the patterned paper bits I accented with little dots of the glitter marker, and then on these ones I accented with a little bit of the stone drops as well. Then the dies that I used on here are the Is All You Need is from the Love Life Sentiment die set. Which again, most of these things I've used have been pretty recent releases. And then the Snow is from the Gaming Tiles Alphabet die set. I love this die set. And there's also a circle one that looks like typewriter keys, which is called Typewriter Tiles Alphabet die set. I'll try and link all these bits below as well, but I will also have a blog post that goes along with this video. I don't tend to write that much on my blog. It tends to just be you know, picture links for the product, so you can easily see what product, you know, instead of having to remember that it was called Typewriter something, you can actually just see a picture of what the die set looks like. So that will be linked in the description below, because I doubt I'll be able to fit everything in the description of the video. So if you go to the blog post, you'll be able to see all of the pictures of all the die sets if there's anything that you're interested in, and of all the Nuvo products as well. But those are the ones that I used on this card. And all I did was use the pinstripe to die cut, and you see how gorgeously it die cuts. I really love that pinstripe cardstock, and you still get all of that gorgeous lined detail on there. And then for the white here, I actually added some of the white Glacier paste to a piece of white card before I die cut. Obviously I let it dry, and then I die cut it, and then I used the mirror card behind the letter apertures as well. And then this one is you know when I was explaining about the sparkle spray, and I said you could put sparkle spray and water and some of the mousses on the white craft mat that comes with the media mat. That's how I did this initial background. And then once that was dry, I took one of the mosaic stencils from Tonic and I spread over the expanding mousse, then removed the stencil, went to wash it, came back, sprinkled on some of the turquoise glitter, and then heated it. So you got this is the gorgeous effect that expanding mousse gives. You get this gorgeous puffy look. And then once it had cooled after I'd heated it, I came back in with the white mousse and just highlighted a few areas of that gorgeous texture, just to make it stand out slightly more from the background, and also just to pick out that gorgeous texture that you get. And then I added on some of the confetti afterwards as well. And then the dies I've used on here is actually, I put this one away, so get that one back out. This is the Love Life Sentiment die set again, and I've used the And Kisses. This set does actually say Love and Kisses. You know, you can do so many different variations, but I noticed that this bag die set, which is the Embellished Swirl Favour box, it's a box, not a bag, has this love in it. So it says love, and I thought that would go really nicely with the swirly sort of, the swirls of the S's and the K and stuff is all sort of like a semicircle. So I just combined those two together and got this Love and Kisses. I think it really goes nicely with that semicircle with the swirly bits that come out the bottom there as well. So that's how I did that card. I've also got one more to show you, but I'll cut this bit out of the video if these dies haven't launched yet, because I made that mistake in the Tropical Paradise colour trend video. I showed some dies that weren't released until like a month after the Tropical Paradise colour trend, and I had to hold on to the video, which was annoying. But But so yeah, I'll cut this out if they haven't come out yet. But this gorgeous die set is called Wishing You a Beautiful Day layering die set, and I just love that sentiment in the centre of it, so I just had to use it. And so for this one, sorry for my squeaky chair, I used the pearlescent card to cut 2 of the corners that come in this die set, these 2 here. I snipped off part of one so that it would fit nicely on my smaller size of card. And then I splatted Glacier paste in the background, the white one, to get that splatty effect, just to make it a little bit more interesting than plain white card. Then behind the Wishing You a Beautiful Day, this is that squishy technique that I love to do. So I could just show you it, couldn't I? Because I really like this colour way. So I did actually just use a piece of card this size. I made sure it would fit behind the hexagon because I knew I wanted to use that. But this is how you do this technique. So you get 2 bits of card the same size, and then I used the Dream Drops, the metallic one and the Jewel Drop, and I put them in the order of Jewel Drop. You just squirt a load of it out, just maybe like 5 or 10 Nouveau drops worth, and then I use the Dream Drops in the middle. I love Dream Drops so much. And then I used the metallic one, which is the Blue Ice. Whoa, air bubble. And then all you do is you take the second piece of card that's the same size and you just squish it on top. I've shown this so many times, so you're probably really bored of this, but I really like doing this technique. And then you can just pull it apart. If you pull it apart that way, lengthways, you're not going to contaminate the stripe kind of effect, but you get this really cool look, and then you can sprinkle glitter into it and confetti and all sorts. And I mean, this isn't quite wide enough for that kind of thing, so you can add some more and then squish it back together and pull it apart. I'll just show you that because I do say it, but you know, it's not until you really see someone do it that you realise it is easy to do. So we can just place that back on top, squish that bottom bit, and then put it apart again. So I've just made it slightly wider so that would fit behind that aperture now. And then you can just sprinkle in some of the glitter. Where did I put it? Here. So, oh, actually how I was doing it is, let me move some of this stuff out of the way so I don't get glitter everywhere. So I just take the little Nuvo spoon. I really love these spoons. And then I just have a little bit on there. I was just tapping it across diagonally. And just tap some of that across on both of them. Might as well do both. Or you can use the turquoise as well, but I just thought the white would look nice and subtle. And then all I did was take some of the iridescent Ice Star confetti as well, and just sprinkled a few of those in too. And this is just like a really random look. And if there's any sort of doubled confetti, you know how they stick together, the double ones will just drop off obviously after it's dried. Or any that don't quite stick into the wet Nouveau drops as well, they'll just drop off. You can poke them, actually, I might do that for some of them. Some of these are overlapping, but that gives quite a good look sometimes. So just one more there. And then to get them to properly adhere to the drops, you can just poke them with a spoon. Just make sure they're making contact. Because basically the drops act like glue, really. I mean, obviously you wouldn't use it as glue because it's a waste, but for something like this, you can just use its adhesive properties to stick them down, or you could add them on afterwards as well. You know, you could just use your Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to add them on afterwards. But anyway, that is just how I did that, so I thought I might as well show that too. And you just get this gorgeous background, and adding a die cut over the top of it gives it such a good look as well. And the reason why I did it in stripes is because of this sort of stripe within that die cut design as well. I thought it would go really nicely. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video of the brand new White Wonderland colour trend for 2020 with all of the Nuvo, Craft Perfect and Pure Sheen. I can't remember the last thing then. All of the gorgeous new products that have come out in this colour trend. They're obviously all products that have been out before, but it's all new colours of them. And really gorgeous wintry Christmassy colours as well. So if you get more into your Christmas card making, maybe you make more Christmas cards than you do any other kind of card, I think this is a really nice colour trend to have, because whites and blues and greys, silvers, all go really nicely together for a gorgeous wintry kind of a look. And as I said before, the whites are really brilliant for just adding any colours to, and you can use re-inkers that you might have. If you had distress re-inkers, you can use those to colour them. You can even use glitter markers to colour them actually. If you scribbled the glitter marker down and then mix some of the mousse or glacier paste into it, you can use aquaflows, you can use Nouveau shimmer powders. Obviously don't add too much that you're like tampering with the consistency of the product too much, but you know, a few drops of aquaflow or a little pile of Nouveau shimmer powder is not going to change the consistency too much. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video. I have a feeling it's a very long one, so thank you if you watched all the way to the end of it, and I hope you I hope it helps really. I mean, I kind of like doing these videos as something to refer back to actually too, because you know, I might forget what's in a colour trend. But I hope it kind of shows you, even if you don't buy this colour trend or anything from it, I hope it just gives you some ideas of how to use some of your Nuvo products that you already own, or that you maybe bought and haven't had a chance to use yet, or haven't known exactly how to use them. So hopefully just me explaining some ways of using them might have sparked something and helped you start using them. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!